Okay, so we have all of our pattern pieces cut. Here's the big stack. And we're going to start out. Oh, and by the way, all of the pieces I don't use, I put back in the pattern envelope so I won't confuse them. And there's my highlighted list that I spoke of before. So I used that list to find all of the pieces, and here they all are. I have not yet cut them to size, as you can see, but I will be doing that as I use them. And we're going to start out with pieces 1, 2, and 3. So 3 is the back bodice lining, 1 is the shoulder strap, and 2 the front bodice lining. And here's my linen, because we are going to make a linen lining, and that linen lining is going to serve as the piece we use to fit the final bodice to our body, or my body. And I learned through trial and error that this is the best way to do it, to make the linen lining first and fit it, make any necessary changes to the lining and then to the corresponding pattern pieces, and then we'll be on our way. I was a little bit surprised to see that although this is a gathered dress, the top part is so big and gathered that the bodice is very fitted. So surprise number one. So the bodice is going to be fitted right to my stays, and then the gathered part is going to go on over the lining. And if you've made a blouse before and you're wondering what a shoulder strap is, that is the top of the shoulder you see on these dresses. There's an actual shoulder strap piece. We're used to the front and back of a blouse, connecting it at one shoulder seam, and that's not the way they did it in the 18th century. They have a shoulder strap. So that seam is a little bit more front forward, and there's a back seam as well to the shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these and pin them and cut out the pieces of our linen so that we can start working on our lining. So here we have our lining pieces are cut out, and I've just used some linen. I buy, lots of yardage of light linen to use for lining, so I'm just using a white linen lining. And we can see a little bit how these pieces are going to come together. This is the front bodice lining, which is the biggest piece, and this is a front fold over here, so this would be the center front, and it's going to come around the shoulder, and you notice around to the back. Normally when we're sewing a shirt today or a blouse today, it would end right about here with an underarm seam, and we can see here that the seam on this is behind our shoulder, and this is the back lining, and this is the center back. You can see how those are going to fit together, and then that's the shoulder strap that I talked about. So the shoulder strap is going to come around the top and connect there and make your shoulder. So quite a bit different of assembly than what we're used to in a modern garment. But once you get the hang of it, it's really not too tough to do. Now I did make a really quick fitting onto my dummy, and it looks pretty good. It looks like it's going to fit pretty well. But I'll do a more formal fitting of it tomorrow with the undergarments or the foundational garments on the dummy. But so far it looks pretty good. And here's another look at those pieces laid out and how they'll eventually come together to make our bodice lining.